Hello and welcome to the All Blacks versus Samoa preview. Hi, I'm Paul Baines, the guy behind DrivingMaul. And don't forget, you can click that thumbs up thing anytime during the show. You don't have to wait to the end. With me today, I have Cornflake, who is another YouTuber. So do check out his channel. But hey, how are you doing this morning?
I'm good. Better than I have been last couple of days. So good to be back on the healthy train again. Thank you for asking.
The man who lives in a cold house down in Dunedin, getting ill all the time.
Dunedin. Ouch. No.
No, all right.
Further south than that. Further south than Dunedin. No. Down in Invercargill. It's colder, tougher down here.
And they don't have an indoor stadium. They have to sit outside. It's hard work down there. So
it's weird. Terrible stadium down here.
Good morning, Connor. Thank you for joining us. We're going to go through the All Black squad and also then look at the All Black squad for Samoa. And then Cornflake is going to give us an update on the Samoa team, as I know nothing about them. So let's kick off with the All Black squad for the Lions. Were you happy with that? Or were you surprised? Any surprises in there for you?
Really, the only surprise for me was the absence of Fekitoa, really. I thought he's played pretty well this year. I don't think the man who really ultimately replaced him in Mape was much of a surprise. I thought the possibility of him or Aso being there was pretty high, but I did think, for me, it was the wrong time for these new guys to be coming into the team like this. But Fekitoa, I thought was a bit harsh on him. I thought he's been good this year. So he was the biggest surprise for me, was seeing him out. Other than that, pretty much as expected. I think the team I predicted, I got 5 or 6 wrong, but I was pretty harsh on the guys leaving. So I was chopping Crudens, I was chopping Carvalho's and that sort of thing. So take out those ones that are pretty predictable that were going to happen, like the Crudens. And then I think I got a couple wrong. The likes of Tuangafasi was in for Laulala. Another one, I thought Laulala probably had the upper edge on the way the season's been going as well, but the All Black selectors seem to be keen on Tuangafasi at the moment as well. But apart from that, it's pretty much as expected throughout the whole side. The McKenzie and Barrett battle, another one that was a 50-50. But, you know, those guys are going to be the future either way. So we're going to see both of them in there at a later point. I think next year is going to be the year we really find out what's going to happen with Damien McKenzie. So, no, pretty predictable squad and pretty good squad as well, I think.
No, I have to agree. I think there are some things, a whole bunch of people, especially from the UK, were going like, well, look what happened to Piatau. And clearly the All Blacks just drop people as soon as they're heading abroad. And that's really not true. Piatau was the exception, not the rule. Piatau got dropped straight away because he had a contract that he'd agreed verbally and then didn't sign and took another contract in Ulster. So he lost the confidence of the All Blacks selectors. They lost trust in him. So that's the difference between him and your Crudens, Carvalho's, etc., that are in the squad. I think Luatua, though, probably does struggle with this. I think if you've been in the squad for the past few years, then they'll pick you right up until when they can. If you haven't been in the squad and you're playing well and you're about to leave, what's the point? They're much better as a fringe player to bring someone else, Tuafasi in, for example, instead of Luatua. And I think that's probably where he's missed out there. Otherwise, he probably would have been in the squad. Hansen was a bit upset that that Pat Lam had. I've got the right guy. When I was going to Bristol, had poached. Well, he kind of got poached or tapped on the shoulder, Luatua. But I think Hansen's was just playing for media there and to get the sympathy vote of the public, really. But apart from that, as you say, it's pretty much there. On the Geordie Barrett McKenzie thing, I think it's pretty clear now with McKenzie being picked at 10 for the Maori All Blacks, that I think that the long-term vision is for Geordie Barrett to be either at 15 or 12, and for McKenzie to be a 10 in the All Blacks' eyes going forwards. He's not seen as an outside back long-term. And as I think you mentioned in a tweet, McKenzie's NPC or his Mitre 10 Cup rugby is all at 10. It's only since he's moved to the Chiefs that he's played 15, which is, they have a history of doing that. They did the same thing with, and I'm going to go blank, the guy who went to Wales, the Blues.
Anscombe.
Anscombe, there we go. Gareth Anscombe again was an Auckland and Blues first 5'8", and then when JK decided he wasn't required there, he went down to the Chiefs and played a lot of fullback before moving up to Wales, where again he's now playing fly half. So it's something the Chiefs like to do. They like to have that second playmaker in the 15 position, and quite often they graduate into the into that number 10 jersey. So not a big surprise for me. I know a lot of people have been surprised because they've seen Mackenzie mainly in Super Rugby. But apart from that, I think it's pretty much, as you say, there may be a couple of loose forwards who could have maybe been in there, Lee Dixon maybe, or so forth. But we're talking flip of a coin, things on the edges. Same with people like Milner Scudder, probably hasn't had enough rugby since he's come back. Hence, he didn't quite make it in there as well. And also, but I guess the one thing I would say, I would ask you about, is we do have those two new cap players. I've been saying all the way in the run up to this is you don't cap people on a Lions tour. You wait till you play. You wait till it's the Rugby Championship. And I think for me, that would be the only reason why I might not go with Namapi and Jordie Barrett.
Yeah, I said the same when I predicted my squad as well. A lot of people said in the comments to their video, you know, what about Aso? What about Namapi? They've been the best informed centre pairing all year, which no question they have been. Ultimately, they've been the best 12 and 13 in the competition. But it's a different level, and I agree completely with what you say. The Lions tour is not a time to test a guy for the first time. I can understand Barrett in there, but at a position where there's a lot of depth already. You know, you're going to have Dags, you're going to have Smiths, you've got the Naholos, you've got the Savies. That first base line is covered, and the chance of him playing are pretty rare. I think you might get maybe a cameo off the bench, or, you know, if the series is over, a third test, or either way, possibly you may get a little bit of play time there, but I can't see he's going to be in the starting lineup. Laumape's a bit different because there's not that same depth in the centres, and it just makes things a little bit interesting whether he's going to get game time. But I do agree, end of your tour, Rugby Championship, that's when I would have had Aso and or Laumape. Again, I would have loved to have seen Milner Scudder in the team. I think he's amazing, but no real lead up as he played a couple of games. I think they've done the right thing with him, putting him in the Māori All Blacks side and giving him time to get back onto his form, you know, break through the recovery of injury and all that sort of rubbish as well. So yeah, that's the main reason why the Laumape thing was a bigger surprise to me, because just getting to that next level, sure he could do it. Not saying he can't, but it's probably the ultimate level to join international ranks. I mean, no offense to Australia, South Africa, or any other international side, but it's the ultimate, really. The Lions tour, you know, each country 12 years. It's a long time to wait for, you know, for every country, and it's going to be a big test. And ultimately, if he makes it, we may have another gem in the midfield ranks. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Another gem, yes. When we say there's not depth, I mean, clearly the players left out, Fekitoa, Moala, Tamani Valu, all got caps last year. Yeah, depth in the squad, exactly. Yeah. Tamani Valu, I don't think we'll see back in an All Black squad, to be honest, unless there's a whole host of injuries. But definitely Moala and Fekitoa have been tapped.
Valu, if I can interrupt you, I spoke about this again. I found it surprising that what the Crusaders done to him. Do you think that the Crusaders have really killed his All Black chances by playing him on the wing so much, where I don't think he's ever going to be selected as a winger in the All Blacks, but as a centre, or a midfielder, he was pretty decent. You know, obviously that's where he was selected as an All Black. Do you think his chances have gone down the pecking order a lot by playing on the wing so much?
No, I think he killed his chances actually during the Welsh Tests last year. There was we were coming towards the end of the game. Hansen is very much, you play 80 minutes. We don't stop playing around just because we've got a nice big lead. And I remember he gave up a try with a little kind of chip kick that just was pretty much chipped into the hands of the guy in front of him, who just stepped him and then just ran through for a try. That kind of brain lapse, that kind of slip is the kind of slip that Hansen just will not accept for an All Black player. When you've got someone like Ryan Crotty, who, okay, he might not have the break, he might not have the explosivity of Tamanavalu, but he won't be making that kind of mistake. He is Mr. Dependable, and I don't think you can get away with doing that. And I think that's where I don't think Hansen rates him, that he's got the concentration to do it. and that perhaps he loses his head sometimes. So no, yeah, it's not helping his cause by any stretch of the imagination. But I think the Crusaders could have played him in the centres all year long, and he still would not have had a sniff anyway.
Fair enough. And the Crusaders got Good, who seems to be streaks ahead of him now anyway as well. It's another young guy that's burning through the ranks. So,
yep. And also, is Rico, is he a winger? Is he a centre? We've still got to wait to see what happens there as well. So anyway, let's we could spend all day talking about that squad. Let's talk about the actual squad that's been picked for the Samoa game tonight, which I will be at, actually. So if you're going to be there, anybody, hit me up. You can find me at DrivingMaul on Twitter. Just message me during the game, and I'll come and find you during the breaks. So we have Joe Moody, Cody Taylor, Owen Franks in the front row, Retallick and Whitelock in the engine room, Kano, Sam Kane, and Ardi Surveyor are your Lucy's. Aaron Smith, Bowden Barrett, year 9 and 10. Sonny Bill Williams and Anton Lellett Brown in the centres, with Surveyor, Dag, and Ben Smith as your back three. On the bench, Nathan Harris, Crockett, and Charlie Firmina, Barrett, Fafita, TJ Perinara, Sopawanga, and Geordie Barrett. So Fafita and Geordie Barrett are the two uncapped players that may come off the bench and get their first cap here. So what do you think of this side?
It's a good side for a match against Samoa. I think they've blended a nice bit of experimental stuff with a little bit of the tried and true and a bit of the team blending, which is needed mostly, I think, which is why the core of the squad is what's going to be playing come test time against the Lions, especially with no Dane Coles. Cody Taylor is definitely next man. So I think that's pretty much going to be your test front row and second row, and back row bar Ardi Savia. I think obviously Reid, if he's fit, will start at number 8, but Kano and Kane will definitely be your 6 and 7. Your Smith and your Barrett, that's going to be your starting halves. But the wingers as well, Savia and Dag, that's going to be your starting wingers for the test. The centres or the midfield, that's where it's going to be the test, I think. Depending how these two guys go, this could be also your starting midfield for that first test match as well, because we've seen already with the other guys, Crotty, of course, is carrying that injury, so we probably won't be seeing him for that first test, possibly. And then, of course, Laumape is the other one, which I'm kind of surprised he hasn't been given a little bit of a show in this match in some regard to see what he has to offer. But I guess, like you say, it's all about building up for that first test match. And if Sonny Bill and Leonard Brown are going to be the ones to start that test, they need some time to gel together. Ben Smith, of course, fullback, no questions whatsoever, the best there. The bench is where they're going for the experimentation. I think they've really liked Vai Fafita for a long time, because he's been talked about for years. Had an amazing Super Rugby last year. Hasn't had the same year. Of course, injury's been pretty detrimental to his year so far. Other than that, though, Geordie Barrett, that's the role he'll probably play later on, but I don't think he'll probably get that sort of role in the test matches. The rest of the sides, though, the rest of the players in that bench, pretty much as we'll see first test, Harris, Crockett, Famuina, they're really your next cab off the rank for your forward. Scott Barrett showed last India tour that he really has come on a long way, almost jumping above, well, he really has jumped above Romano in that picking order as well. Perinara, Sopawanga, they have proved that they are really the next guys in line. No place for Carballo, which wouldn't be in my team anyway. So, good team. Not really surprised by anyone there. I think that's pretty close, if not exact, what we'll see in the first test against the Lions as well.
Yes, if we take away Dane Coles, Reid, Crotty, and Cruden, that is definitely your first choice 15. And I'm saying Cruden because he would have been on the bench. So for me, that's the first choice 15. This is not a side that we've seen that the All Blacks took up and played Fiji. This is not a side we've seen the All Blacks take and play Japan or the USA on a pre-game November tour. This is your first choice All Blacks side out against Samoa, which they would not normally do. This game is about one thing and one thing only. That's brushing all the rust off before they face the Lions next weekend. I think this is a very clear statement of how seriously the All Blacks are taking this Lions tour. There's the great comment from the Blood and Mud podcast. By the way, They call themselves a sweary pipe bomb of podcasts. So if you don't like that foul language, don't listen to them. But otherwise, they are a good listen. Yeah, definitely not suitable for work or around your kids. One of their comments was that if the New Zealand press are being nice to you, they don't respect you, and they're just going to roll you over. If the New Zealand press are starting to get angsty and making comments about the ref or about this or about that, they are worried and they know that there's a real game on. And the press last year for Warren Gatland when he brought Wales over was all very nice and tapping him on the back and saying how wonderful it is to have you home. This year, the press is all like, Gatland can't play. God, he's stressed. Oh, it's all in trouble. Yeah, that means that the New Zealand press think this is going to be a real series and a real test. Putting this game in beforehand as a warm-up shows that Hansen thinks actually this Lions team could do something and could if they get their act together. It's a big if, but I think that's to me that's the kind of message that I'm hearing that I'm hearing as the undertone to what's going on at the moment.
Yeah, I think we all know that the Lions have a good enough team. Their first team, their best 15 is definitely good enough to challenge what the All Blacks can offer. What I've been surprised about the most about the Lions is the depth of the squad. I really thought the whole squad coming over would have been good enough to put the Super Rugby sides away. Now, some people have been a bit surprised that I might think that, but I really expected the Four Nations to produce, a good squad depth that will do that. But we all know that come that first test match, that 23 is going to be a really, really good 23. And we all know first match of the season, we even seen it with the Lions, their first match against their Barbarians team. That wasn't a better team, that the Barbarians were. They weren't that good of a team, but the Lions were very rusty. They hadn't played with each other. They had been together for a very, very small amount of time. And that's the same thing. The All Blacks probably got a little bit more continuity in the bank because they've played together before, and that would help them. But they definitely need a match like this one against Samoa. And I think Samoa's a good opponent as well because they will definitely be tough. They'll be strong. They'll be physical, and they will test you in more ways than a lot of other teams will as well. And looking through that team as well, there's some good players, and the good thing about Samoa and all those island nations as well is they are pretty much all professional players, which is massive difference. And those little things that the island nations used to get mistakes, their unprofessionalism, the little over-aggressions, all those sort of things that ruined their game, the bad part to the good side is being faded out now, and they're starting to become professional, really good units that are going to just get better and better as well because their players are good. There's been no question about that in the years past, but they are just going to get more professional, more structured, and they're just going to be better, and keeping that flair that they have in their play as well just makes them more dangerous. This is possibly going to be the best build-up that they could get as well for this test, the first test starting soon. Yeah,
absolutely. It's definitely going to be very physical, and that'll test some of the players mentally and character-wise. When Geordie comes on, he'll be getting a welcome, I'm pretty sure, from the Samoans. But the one thing I would say about this is, a lot of these players have played together before. You're getting a team together from 5 teams, whereas the Lions is coming together from across closer to 20 club teams, and that lack of cohesion and that difference is massive. You got to look at someone like Nonu when he was playing for the Blues. Really didn't look very good. Put him in an All Black jersey the next week between two guys, between Carter and Smith, who he's played with all his life, and suddenly he looks like a world beater again. It's the combinations. At the Blues, he just didn't get between Anscombe and was it Rennie Range probably outside him at the time. There were guys who just didn't. The guys who just didn't know and didn't get, and therefore he couldn't play anywhere near his ability. And I think don't expect a Lions against Barbarians game from this All Blacks team. Yes, they will be rusty. They won't be anywhere near that rusty. So yes. So you were talking about the Samoans. Who should we look out for during the game then?
Oh well, there's a lot of good talent in this Samoan team, and for Northern Hemisphere fans out there, fans of the Lions will be familiar with a lot of these players as well, because the bulk of them do play in the Northern Hemisphere. We've got players from France, we've got players from the Aviva Premiership and the Pro 12 coming from everywhere. But the key thing is, of course, they're professional players now, and they're playing at that high level, that good level. And you look through this whole Samoan 23, and I'm pretty sure there's only one player in there who's not actually a professional player for a side in the Northern or Southern Hemisphere. But I think their backline is going to be the most dangerous. Their pack is good, and any pack that's got names like Census Johnson in there, Jack Lamb, Lavave, who used to play for the Hurricanes, might remember him, and names like those. What's the other one that's going to Lamalu, the second rower? Big names that have performed at good levels before as well. So they've got a decent pack, but you look at their backline, it's Cornflake, a superb scrum half. He has been a great player, played in New Zealand years ago, and has just got better and better since his time at Bath as well. So he's going to be a huge part of how this team plays. The PC brothers still on the team as well. Tusi PC starting at 10. His brother Ken is on the bench for this one. But they have proven for years and years that these guys are good. Different sort of team than the conventional sort of thing that you'd normally see. These guys are very attacking. They're almost, if any New Zealand people are watching, like a Carlos Spencer sort of player. They'll attack you in trick ways. You know, don't be surprised to see lots of little kicks and things like that from 2CPC. Outside them, though, Tim Nano Williams, we're all familiar with what he can do. He's on the left wing. Alapati Leoa, another one who is strong. People will know like what Lamape can offer. Leoa is like that, strong but very, very fast, very elusive. Kieran Whanatia, former Crusader, he can do a lot of damage as well outside him. Albert Nakoro, he's been around a while, not to the level he used to be, of course, but still a dangerous quick man outside him. And Tuala at fullback, another one for the Northampton Saints, dangerous player. So I'm wary of their backline, and you go through all those names, and there is plenty who, given half a chance, or all of them given half a chance, will carve you up. I mean, 9 through 15 will do the damage, and for that matter, even the back row will do damage. They're fast, they're powerful, very physical, I've already mentioned. These guys are dangerous, and these guys can play at a good level as well. So I'm not expecting this to be a thrashing. I think the Samoans will go very well, and I know these guys can definitely perform. So I'm worried about their backline, and I think it's going to be a massive test for the All Blacks as well. They're going to need to man up pretty well. It's going to be good for Aaron Smith, because he's going to have a good man up against him in Cornflake. I think he's going to be the key for the Samoans. He can definitely stretch the All Blacks to another level, and a good build-up for what they're probably going to see from the likes in the future. Conor Murray, different sort of player, but you're probably going to see a lot of attack based through him and around him as well. Yeah,
no, very different type of player. His time at Bath, where you had someone like Ford who wants to run the show. Firstly, he likes to run the show himself, and that with two guys who wanted to run the show, it didn't kind of work out. So you've got to let First League go for it and have a much more steady territorial kind of march you around the pitch, kind of fly half really, rather than someone who's going to be breaking all the time, because First League is going to take your time away because he's going to try all those sniping runs and stuff. But yeah, no, very good side. And you mentioned it's going to be a great test. I've gone, I think it was All Blacks by 14. What's your prediction?
Yeah, I'll definitely go something alongside those lines. Haven't made my picks just yet, but I will definitely go. That's almost putting the house on it for you, isn't it? In the 15, putting the house on it. That's pretty much that's a long way out there for me. Yeah, that is.
More 1 and 20s if you're playing an Italian side in Pro 12.
But I'd agree. Yeah, it's something in the mid-teens. I'd look around 14 to 16 points, but it's going to be. I'd say it's pretty tight until that typical All Black Test match. I think it's going to be fairly tight. Samoa will have themselves a chance. A team that does play with a lot of confidence as well. If you give them a sniff, if you give them a little bit of hope, they get that confidence up. Of course, being in Auckland, they'll have a lot of support as well. There's a lot of Samoan support around in the Auckland area, so they'll have a lot of crowd support. Confidence will get up behind them. If they can stay in that match, it's going to do them great wonders, especially going into that last quarter of the game, which will be crucial. But I think the All Blacks will pull away at that end. That final quarter like they always do. But it should be a good match, entertaining, I hope. Should be plenty of open tries. What's the weather looking like out there?
It's been a bit changeable. It's sunny at the moment, but we had some rain earlier. It's a bit cloudy, so it could be there is definitely a chance of showers. The other point about the crowd is that this is a double header. So first off, we have Tonga versus Wales kicking off at 5:30. So you're going to have a bunch of Lions fans who were in town, hadn't got tickets for this weekend for the sellout down in Rotorua, who will be up to watch Wales. I know at least one touring rugby side that's got tickets for this game from Wales. So there's going to be a bunch of Lions supporters in there as well who will also back the Samoans. You'll have the Tongan supporters. There's a big Tongan community here in Auckland as well. They'll also be backing their island brothers probably. So yes, we could end up being a kind of like an away test match at home for this game. I think we'll have as many. It could be an even crowd from a cheering point of view. Everyone loves an underdog as well. So this one kicks off at 8 o'clock, so half an hour later than normal. Normally it'd be about 7:30 for these kickoffs, but it's going to be 8 o'clock to give people time like me to go curry between the two games, and obviously for us to have the anthems as well. As I say, I'll be at the game, so if you're going to be there, let me know. Also, by the way, I'll be probably doing some exclusive videos for the Sportsmen, so keep an eye on their Twitter feed for that as well. So I'm going to wrap it up there. We did say this was going to be a quick one. I can't, if it's for you, it's a bit quick one. For me, it's a longish one. So Cornflake, where and how can people get hold of you?
Cornflake's Crib is the name. You can find me on Twitter and on YouTube. They're my main outlets for anything. So at Cornflake's Crib for Twitter, and the same thing going for YouTube as well. You can catch me there, all my videos and thoughts. It's always good to have people around during the matches as well, because we always have some good banter and abuse going on for referees and all sorts like that over the game. So get involved, follow me on there, and have your say.
Cool, thank you. I'm obviously DrivingMaul. Do subscribe for this if you my YouTube channel if you haven't already. Give it the old thumbs up, please. I'm obviously here on YouTube at DrivingMaul on Twitter, and drivingmaul.com is my website. So great, thanks all, thanks everybody, and I will be back with after the what videos coming up. Weather watch for the Lions game today. Also, who are the Lions and the Maori All Blacks? Because there's definitely different views from New Zealand and from Europe. Is it the best of 4 countries, or is it a scratch team? And then also after the Maori game, the Maori Lions game, I will be doing a live post-game reaction with rugby numbers and the pen, and I will be doing it live from a beer festival here in New Zealand, so in Auckland. So that could be fun. And so thank you very much for joining us. I'll have Cornflake on later in the series, probably after one of the probably after either the Hurricanes or the Wellington test match, to do a live post-game review. Do join us. Look out for those in the future as well.